Hi. This time I'm going to talk to you about some improvisation ideas and examples using a few very simple chords, C11 and C9 and B flat 11, B flat 9. And I'll demonstrate some ideas using a simple backing track using these basic chords. And obviously with these chords you would be using mainly two scales, which would be C Mixolydian, which are the same notes as the major scale of F, so and B flat Mixolydian, which are the same notes as E flat major. Now, of course, the simplest thing you can do is just to use these two scales and to switch from one position to the other when the chord changes. So playing in this position, for instance, on the C chord, and then changing to this position for the next chord. I'll do a very short demonstration of this basic idea. Now you may have noticed that sometimes I'm just sort of repeating a certain small theme. I'm playing a few notes that are like a small theme, and then repeat this theme in the other position with the other scale. Now that's of course very basic, and you can do that now and then, but if you want to do that, you can do that a little bit more. You can do that in a more subtle way by using these themes but changing them slightly and not changing position, but just changing the scale. And what I mean is that, for instance, when I'm playing in this position in the C Mixolydian scale, to go to the next scale without changing position, and back to the C again, and back to B flat, and that way you can make your solo a little bit more fluent, and it won't get cut up into pieces. You can just keep playing in the same position, and you can also use this idea to repeat a theme and change it just by changing a few notes. This gives you the idea of some consistency on one hand, and on the other hand also a little bit of variation. So I'll demonstrate this again with a small improvisation using this idea. So what I'm doing there is basically just playing an idea in one scale, and then modifying the same idea by just changing the essential notes to use the same idea but play them in a different scale but in the same position. This also helps to keep hold of the same idea by not changing the position. It's easier to expand on your original idea while still adapting to the other scale. So again, if I play something like this, if I have to adapt this to the other scale, I would play something like this. It's almost the same, but it's essentially different. Another nice thing to use is to make the transition to the other scale by playing some notes, in this case very easy to do, some notes from a scale exactly in between. Now, because here the distance is just one whole note, of course that's very easy, because you can play in this position and that position. Of course, in between there is, and I'll try to demonstrate this again with the backing track. Now this can sound very cool, and in fact it's very easy to understand. It's a little bit tricky to do because you have to make the change at the right moment, and to make it sound fluent you have to practice it, of course, to get it right. And maybe it was a little bit fast and with the backing track, so I'll just demonstrate it now without backing track a little bit slower so that you can really understand what I'm doing. First I'm playing an idea with the C Mixolydian scale. And then very subtly I change to the scale in between the two. Again some variation on this. Or something like this. It also helps if you try to build your phrases in such a way that you sort of make this transition a little bit less obvious, so that you hear the difference in notes, but you don't really cut it up into parts that are too obvious, let's say. So if you, for instance, go into the transition, then make a little pause somewhere, and then finish the transition, then you're actually breaking the transition up, which gives you the feeling that you're playing two separate phrases, but they are still connected because you were making the transition. I'll try to demonstrate this again with an example. So in the middle of the transition I stop, and then I continue it, and that gives you the idea that there are some unexpected notes coming into the solo, which are in fact very easily explained, but because your phrasing is sort of covering up what you're doing. So I'll demonstrate this one more time with the backing track.